Hello. I've decided to start doing some videos showing the basics of Inventor from the start, showing some basic features, some basic sketchings, just to show people who don't really know or haven't used this software ever before, give them just a base to start with really, and then progressing on to more advanced modelling in the end, but just to show the basics and good practices, which I've seen quite a lot of not good practices with the sketching especially. So we'll start off with, go to new, we're going to work in millimeters, so we'll click create. We do have a sheet metal part as well to Inventor, but that's at the moment that doesn't matter. This is a part which is one part, but you can have a multi-body part, which again further on we'll get into that. This is an assembly where you have the individual parts, then assemble them together to make the model. And then these are the drawings, which you would use when you do your model. If it was going to be milled out or folded or put together, you do the drawing showing all that information. But to start off with, we just want the standard part to do a basic sketch and a basic model, which is in millimeters, as we use millimeters. Create, and then this will bring us to the page where we can model. Right, this is our space that we're going to model in. Here we go. So these are the features that we can use, and this is to sketch. So we start off with sketching. These are the planes which you select to draw on. You can pick any plane to draw on. I always pick the XY, just the way I got taught to pick that one. And this is now our sketching tools up here. These are all our sketching tools we can use. As you see here, which the center point I can show maybe a little bit better. This is the center point of our drawing. So we'll start off with a rectangle. So you can use different rectangles. We'll do different jobs and for different things you need to do, but I always use, just to draw a rectangle, this one, which is 2 points. So you have the point originally, the first point. I always make sure I start on the center point. Click once, pull out, doesn't matter where you go because you'll dimension it after, then click again. Always start from the center point to constrain it to the center point when I'm doing this. Then we have dimensions here. So click dimension, just click on a line, or you could click side to side, but click on the line, pull up, click again, and then it lets you put your dimension in. So if we go 100, that's the first side dimensioned. Now we need to dimension this side. So just click on the line, pull out, click again. We will do 50. And then that's our square dimensioned. Now as you can see, the lines have gone purple. This means that our sketch is fully constrained. You always need to have a fully constrained sketch. Always. And if you see down the bottom here, it says fully constrained. If I go back to the 50, delete it, the lines have gone green. And down here you'll see one dimension needed. So it's not fully constrained, and if it's not fully constrained, what can happen is I can pull to any size. I can pull it and it's going to keep moving. Whereas if I go back now, see that's now 65. But if I go 50, all purple, fully constrained. If I go to pull, if I go to pull, it will not go anywhere because it's fully constrained. And these constraints, if I click F8, these are the constraints. We'll go into the constraints more detail on another video, but these are the constraints that keep it. And F8 and F9 gets rid of. Right, so once that's fully constrained, that's what we want. Finish sketch. Then this brings us back to these features that we can use now. Now we'll start off with the most basic one, extrude. Click extrude. And because I've only got one profile, it will automatically select that profile. creates a new solid, and then we have the drop down menu here which can go distance to between, but we just want distance to show at this point. So the distance at the moment is 10 mil. We can make that 20 mil. We'll do it at 50. Oh, 50 mil. And you can also select the direction, so it could go that way, in between both, or like an offset distance one way, but we'll start off with just this one. Click OK. Now we have created that block. Also, shaded with edges is quite good, but I prefer, this is just to, well, you'll see technical, just shows a better view, shows the sides better. Now we have a block. As before, we drew on planes, which you can draw on planes, but also when you have a block, you can draw on the sides. So if we wanted to put a hole through here, we can click on this side, then use the circle command, which starts in the middle, one click, pull out, two click, there we go. Then we can dimension that to be 20. Now we need to dimension this circle more. As you can see, 2 dimensions needed. We need to tell it the distance from here to there, and then from here to the center. So we can get our dimension tool, select this edge, select the center of the circle, which we have here, and we know the block was 50, so if I do 25, it will place it in the middle, and then do the same again. Select from here to the center, then if we put 25, then that's now in the center of that block. And also you can see, as I'm going along, fully constrained, which means it's perfect. That will not move. Finish sketch, extrude. Now, before, when we extruded the block, we had this selected, which extrudes it out. So now we want to place a cut through it. We select this, the cut, and then the same as with extrude. If that's 50 mil, we could have it at a depth of 50 mil, but in this case, we want it going all the way through. So if we put 100, as you can see, then that goes all the way through. So that's the extrude, basic extrude command to show to extrude the block, then to extrude a cut. Right. Next, we will show the fillet command. Let's have a go with the fillet command. Now, a fillet command puts a radius edge. As you can see, these edges are sharp edges. It will place a radius. So if we select an edge, as you can see, it puts a radius on it. Now the radius here is 2 mil. We could change that to 10 mil. Apply. As you can see, that's placed a radius. And it can be placed on not any edge, but most edges. As you can see there, select that edge, and then it automatically selects all of it. Click apply, cancel. Now we have the filleted edge. Also, as well as fillet, there is chamfer, which, if we go over to this side, and we select this edge, it's the same as radius, but it just puts an edge instead of a radius. So if we went to 10 mil, as you can see, it just puts the edge on it. And then cancel. That's the fillet command. Also, another feature I will show is the hole command. We created a hole here, but that was a cut hole. As you can see here, this is the tree, which shows all of the previous features we've used. So we extruded, and inside the extrusion is the original sketch, which we can see. Same with the next extrusion was the circle. We can see the original sketch. And then these, if you right click on, you can see you can edit the feature. We'll go into this a little bit more in another video, but you can go into it and change the size. Right. Yeah, so as you see here, this is just put down as an extrusion. Whereas if we wanted to place a hole, there's a different feature. So if I select here, so what you do is you've got the face. This is linear, so this will be, I need to choose two edges from where the circle will be measured from. So if I choose this face, you can see there's a hole and we have reference 1. Select this edge here, as we're going to use for our reference, which is 43, as you can see. So if we go to 45, and then you have reference 2, if we select this edge, it has to be an edge as well. It's best to do it from there. Then if we select 20, then it's 20 mil. Then we have these options. We'll keep it simple for now, and we'll just do this one. And then this is the depth that we want the hole to go. So at the moment it's 8 mil. We could change that to 15. And this is the diameter that we want our hole. So we could change that to 7. There we go. The drill points, again, we don't need to go into that for the basics. The termination, you can go distance, through all, or 2, but for this we'll use distance. So if we go OK, now we've created a hole. It's gone through that hole. As we can see, yeah, if you just see that, it's just gone through that hole. So what we can do is we can right click, edit, and then just change that depth. If it was 15, we could change it to 10. And then if we look, it's not going to go through there now. But in our tree here, we can see this is now classed as a hole. Whereas this hole that we created all the way through is an extrusion. It was a circle extruded. Whereas this is classed as a hole. These are the basic features of Inventor. There's a few others, but for now I think these to start are a good place to start. We have the sweep and the loft, which you need to draw, different profile, which we'll go into in another video. But for now, to start drawing with the sketches and the extrusions, and then you could have the cuts, the chamfers, the holes, they're a good start. But the main thing is to always fully constrain your sketches and keep your sketches as simple as possible. As for this sketch, we could have put a hole in the, if I just go into the sketch, edit the sketch, we could put a hole in and then extrude, which then when you extrude it, if I show you, I'll start a new part just to show. So if we create a sketch, this is just an example of why it's easier to keep your sketches as simple as possible. So if we go 200, 150, as you can see, fully constrained. I constrained it to the center. Okay. Oh, I was going to put a hole in, wasn't I? Forgot that. If we put a hole, actually I won't put it right there, I'll put it here. If I do a 50mm hole, then I'll dimension it from here to here, 60, and then we will go 40. See, now if we go extrude, you can select to extrude without that. So now we have the hole. But if we need to then change that hole, we have to go back into the sketch to change the different distance of that hole. Whereas if we create a hole, pick the face, it's a linear again, pick the face, reference 1, as you can see, 40, then it will automatically go to reference 2, 65, the depth we'll have as 10 because that was the, I don't know if we I forgot, I think we did do 10 or 20. Diameter is 7. We have this. Right, let's go back into the hole quickly. I did it 20. Right, there we go. See this, if I want to edit the hole dimensions, I can right click, edit, it's there. Whereas if I want to go and edit the hole when I extrude, even though this, we haven't got much in the tree here, so it's a lot easier, but if I add 50 features, then I have to go back and find out which feature, then open it, and then edit through here. It just makes it messy, and it can just take a little bit longer. It's best to keep your sketches as simple as possible. You can also double click, they're there, change quickly. That's the best way to model. So that's the main important things when you start modelling. Always constrain your sketches and keep your sketches as simple as possible, then add the features after. Like I've just shown, cuts or holes, add them after. I think that's about it for the basics. There's a few more in the next video that we can go to. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It's the first of, I hope, which will be a few. And as we go on, we'll get more advanced.